Here's a question for you. What brake pads have you got on your bike? The original ones? The standard ones? The cheapest ones you found on eBay? Whatever the last bloke put in there? Yeah, I gotta admit, I was pretty lazy about brake pads, but today we've been at Castle Combe with the GSX-R 1000 and a massive stack of EBC brake pads of all sorts of clever different compounds. Turns out there's a difference. Who knew? EBC, when I first started racing, they were the pads to go for. Then over the years, we switched to various fancy pants pads from different companies, and I must admit I moved away from EBC Brakes. Recently, EBC have got back into race pads, performance pads, and they now offer a whole range from bog standard organic pads right through to a proper track compound race pad that's designed for high temperature use. We put them in this GSX-R, gave them an absolute hiding round here at Castle Combe, fitted slicks to the bike to make sure we were giving them as much punishment as possible, and the difference between the sets has been really impressive. Now, the pad we started with was the original equipment pad from Suzuki that goes into the Brembo caliper on this GSX-R 1000. Good braking, decent performance on the road. On the track, it has been pretty well documented that the old Suzuki suffers with a bit of brake fade, and here at Castle Combe, probably 10 laps or so in, once you've got some real heat into the calipers, you did start to find that the lever was going a bit soft and you weren't getting that same braking performance that you'd had earlier in the session. Fade, I think the grown-ups call it. To combat that, we switched to the Double H sintered pad. That pad was an improvement over the stock pad, slim improvement, a little bit more bite, maintained power a little bit longer, but still didn't quite give you that long-lasting performance for high-speed track use. We then moved up a compound to the EPFA pad, which is this one here. Now that gave us a big step up in performance over the sintered stuff and over the stock stuff. Right away from cold, these pads work really well, which is an important factor if you're thinking about using them on a road bike. But throughout the session, the performance of them stayed constant. A little more bite than standard, significantly more power, by which I mean the amount of effort you're putting at the lever versus the amount of deceleration you're getting. The thing I liked the most about the EPFA pad was that the performance throughout the session actually stayed consistent. We were only doing sort of 10 to 15 lap runs on the track day here, but through that session, you were getting consistent performance, reliable braking, and you knew where the lever was going to be each and every time you hit it. That means a lot when you're doing a track day and you're trying to improve your lap times. In search of a bit more performance, we switched out to the GPFAX 447HH. Longest pad name in the world, but it's EBC's race compound pad. These are designed for high temperature use, for race use only. They're not homologated for road use. The reason being, if you're not getting enough heat into them on the road, your brake's not going to work properly. These pads rely on a bit of heat to work. Put them in the GSX-R, bedded them in properly, so full session, braking gently, not using full lever force, but not dragging the brake and building too much heat either. Came in, let them heat soak, let the brake cool down again, then went out, and from the minute I went back out, this pad was a big improvement. First of all, the bite was probably similar to the EPFA, so the initial braking force when you touch the lever, but then as you pulled the lever, as you got into the fat of the braking and started pulling hard, the power on these was noticeably better, and I was putting much less force through the lever for the same amount of deceleration. To the point that on this stock standard GSX-R 1000R, I was actually getting enough rear wheel lift that it was upsetting the ABS and we were running into ABS problems more than anything else. So that pad was a significant increase in performance. It's been really good to try all of these different brake pads on the stock discs, but over a range of pads on the same track, on the same tyres, on the same day. I must admit, I got very lazy with brake pads recently. I've just run whatever the bikes come with, changed them when they're worn out. I think on the back of this, I probably will be looking at having a specific set of pads and discs for track work, and I really like those GPFAXs. The performance they gave let me ride faster and push the brakes deeper into the corner, and that for me is a massive win. The takeaway from this isn't you must go buy EBC pads. Obviously EBC would love me to say that, but I think the takeaway is pay attention to every little bit of your bike. Don't just run the pads that came with it, try different stuff, look up some reviews, and if you're going track days and racing, look at a track day and race specific pad. They will make a difference. They're not massively more expensive than just running the original equipment pads from the manufacturer, and you will ride faster because of them. I'm covered in brake dust now.